Good morning and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio. Today's session is our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm with the Imagine America Foundation. We're excited about today's career topic, Automotive Technology, sponsored by Universal Technical Institute, or UTI. UTI is this country's leading provider of high-quality, career-focused education at 12 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 20-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 15,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation to our website, www.imagine-america.org. Automotive technology careers are some of the more popular career programs at our career and technical colleges. Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified automotive technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming automotive technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background. Before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me quickly outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of the presentation. Once we finish these opening remarks, we'll move directly into today's presentation. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the chat feature in this Zoom meeting. There's a Zoom meeting bar at the top or the bottom of your screen, depending on how you're joining this meeting. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 10:25, I will then present any of the questions offered by the participants. We will address as many questions as possible and provide written responses in follow-up emails. We will have a hard close at 10:30 a.m. So, without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn over today's session to Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to jump right into the presentation as we do want to keep our promise on that close. Our agenda is threefold today. We have, first of all, challenges facing the workforce, follow that up with opportunities in the automotive industry, and then I will close with Universal Technical Institute's career pathways. One of the things that I always like to talk about when I speak with educators is the changing workforce. A lot has changed between the 20th and the 21st century, as you well know. As you can see in the graph in front of you, the economy was very much an agricultural manufacturing economy. And that just doesn't hold true today. Today, we are mainly a service economy. And you all understand that completely, because if you own a house, if you own a car, if you own a washing machine, I don't care what it is, you know how difficult it is to get service, to get someone to work on these things, let alone someone who is qualified to work on this. We hear about the scams all the time that people come on because they don't have the skills or the credentials that they need. So you can see that the workforce has changed a lot. You can also see it even in the restaurant industry. When you go out to eat and they say, well, it'll be a 30-minute wait, and you turn around, there's 8 tables wide open. You go, what's the deal? Well, they don't have servers. So as I said before, we're very much service oriented, and we need to approach our economy that way. You'll also notice on the graph too that the agriculture was 41%, and that's dropped down to 2%. Don't let that mislead you, because we feed more people with that 2% than we do in the 41%. How? Through technology. And of course, technology is what's really big, not only like with the workforce today, but very big in the transportation industry as well. A recent survey was done with 150,000 Boy Scouts. These Boy Scouts were asked, how many of you would like a skilled trade career? And as you can see, a whopping 3% said yes. Oh yeah, I'm looking for a skilled trade career. That's what I want to do. My lifelong ambition. Well, then we asked the same students, how many of you would like a STEM career? And as you can see, over 45% said yes, I would like a STEM career. Well, there lies the disconnect because students don't realize that STEM and skilled trades go together. They tend to think of STEM as a white collar type of career and skilled trades as more of a blue collar career. The disconnect even reaches further with some educators who, once again, don't understand that STEM and skilled trades go hand in hand. STEM versus non-STEM education, the fastest growing fields in the economy today are STEM related. And, a few months ago, I had the fortune of getting to speak at an event after an admiral from the Naval Academy. And he was talking about their very elite, STEM program. They have this STEM program that's only for the top 15% of the students, and he just went on and on about how wonderful this program is and all kinds of things. Well, and that's all well and good. I spoke with him afterwards, and I said, what bothers me is you only have the top 15% involved in this. STEM is all around us. You'd be hard pressed to find a field that doesn't use STEM in some way. I mean, we even think about like a carpenter. We like to think that they know how to read a yardstick or a ruler or a tape measure so that your house is going to be square, that they incorporate STEM in what they do. So the STEM fields are definitely growing at a very fast rate. The opportunity we have today is that only about a fifth of the jobs that we have in this country right now require a bachelor's degree. We also have the other problem of half of our college graduates are walking around with these college degrees and they're not even using them, or they found out they didn't need them when they got into the career that they chose. And that's sad because we have a lot of people out there with student loan debt who either have nothing to show for it, or they do have a degree, but they're not even using it. It'd be like going and buying a new car and just putting it in your garage, let it sit there. You're getting nothing out of it. It might be worth a lot, maybe someday as an antique, but we want to make sure that students are getting the education that they need for what they want to be. I speak a lot about the old smart versus the new smart. The old smart was get into the best school you can. Find the best school out there and make sure you get there. And then after you get there, figure out what it is you want to do. And if you do have the fortune of figuring out what you want to do, then you walk out the doors, degree in hand, and go, here I am, world, hire me. And we know today that just doesn't work anymore like it used to. The other thing too is when I say, strive to get into the best school you can, some of you are probably saying, who does that anymore? Nobody does that. Well, look at the college admissions scam that's going on right now. We have people that have served jail time, are serving jail time, or are going to serve jail time simply because they tried to cheat the system and buy their way for their sons and daughters to get into these prestigious schools. And the irony of all of it is that many of these students didn't even want to go to college. They didn't even want to go there. Their parents wanted it for them, and so they were going to make sure they got there. That's the old smart. The new smart is a 180 from that. The first thing we want to do is we want to concentrate on the student. I always ask educators, what's the one question that we ask every little kid? And it is, what do you want to be when you grow up? We ask that all the time. And so that's what we need to be doing with our students. But the other part of this is we can't stop asking that question. Just because they get into middle school or because they get into high school, we still have to ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? We need to find out what that ambition is, what they want to do, what are they good at? And then we have to build upon that a little bit. I recently did a STEM workshop in Florida, and I had a teacher come up to me and she pointed out this student. She said, I wasn't even going to bring this student because he's disruptive in class, he struggles in class. I wasn't even going to bring him. And she said, look at him. Look at the smile on his face. He was doing an electrical kit that I like to do with STEM. He was doing this kit and big smile on his face, and he was one of the first ones done. She goes, I would have never thought it that he's found something he loves to do here. And so that's important that we find out what do kids want to do? What do they want to be? And then we need to find out what program do they need? Do they need a bachelor's degree? Do they need an associate's degree? Or do they just need competency-based credentials or some kind of a certificate or diploma? That will determine then what type of school that we want to send them to. Why send them to the college or university when we might need to be sending them to cosmetology school or to welding school or to an auto school, something on those lines. So anyway, that is the new SMART, and it really fits our economy today. The rule of 127, you may not be familiar with. I speak about it a lot when I go across the country, but the rule of 127 is really very simple. When you add 1, 2, and 7 together, obviously you get 10. So for every 10 careers that are out there, only one requires an advanced degree, meaning a master's degree or higher. 2 of the 10 require a bachelor's degree. And then finally, 7 of the 10, 70% of the careers today only require a diploma or an associate's degree or some type of competency-based credential. That's it. Yet we are pushing students into college at a 70% clip right now. So you can see we're doing just the opposite of what the economy is dictating to us that they need. Skilled trades require STEM. I said this earlier. We have to stop this university for all attitude that started back in the 1970s, 1971 to be exact, Griggs versus Duke Power. And, at that time when they deemed all the aptitude tests to be unconstitutional, they're not fair, all this, they had to come up with, what are we going to use then? Employers have to have something. A college degree. You have a college degree and you're smart. You know everything. Well, we have to get away from that now because the University for All just doesn't work anymore. You all know with your students, you have students that are all different. They all come from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and they all have different ambitions. We need to serve all of those students. And that's where the University for All attitude has to go. And finally, we have to look at what are employers looking for? They're looking for competency-based credentials. What do you bring to the table? What can you help our company with? What can you add here? That's what they're looking for. Okay, the second part of our agenda is opportunities in the automotive industry. As you can see, cars and trucks today are rolling computers, no doubt about it. But this even goes past cars and trucks. It also gets into farm equipment. I read an article not too long ago where farmers are looking for older equipment because the new stuff coming out, they can't work on themselves and there's no techs to work on them. So they're looking for old equipment rather than buying the new stuff. So, all of you out there, if you have a 2017 or newer car, that car is wired for autonomous driving. Now, I didn't say take your hands off the steering wheel. Please don't do that. But I'm telling you that the technology is there. This is no longer science fiction. But then we think about the technology that these cars have. They're really life-saving measures. The backup cameras. I wonder how many lives that's saved. Just the simple backup camera that we take for granted now. Almost every car has them anymore. The blind spot indicators. We've all been guilty of that. We start to pull over and somebody honks at us. Where'd they come from? Didn't even see them because they were in our blind spot. No longer with that indicator. We have these vehicles are covered with sensors. You can have rain sensing windshields. So that you turn your wiper on, it'll come on automatically when it starts to rain and shut off when it stops raining. All of these things are voice activation in there. But the question is, who's going to work on these things? Because we just don't have the technicians now that we need to work on this high-tech equipment. There's definitely a growing demand in the transportation industry. There are over 1.3 billion cars in the world today, cars, trucks, everything, all the transportation together. Over 260 million of those are in the United States alone, and that number is going to continue to grow. We're not going to give up our vehicles. It's our freedom. We're not going to give those up. And then The real kicker here is, according to the Department of Labor, the technician job openings by 2026, 1.2 million. Million. It's crazy what's out there. But what's even scarier is that's only 6 years away. It's already 2020. So, I unfortunately I can't sit here today and tell you that the skills gap is closing. It is not. It continues to widen. We have to do something now to start narrowing that gap. And then finally, I want to close today with Universal Technical Institute's career pathways. We very much align ourselves with industry. We have alliances with over 35 manufacturers, and we gear everything towards them. We teach a little bit differently than what other schools do in that we do one course at a time, 3 weeks at a time, so that a student doesn't take 6 subjects all at once. They're going to learn brakes, and then when they accomplish that, then they're going to move to transmissions and so on and so on. We help students customize their career path. We start with core training, then we move into advanced training and even manufacturer paid training. So as I say often, we're not preparing students for Jiffy Lube. We're preparing students to go to work for companies like BMW, for Porsche, for Ford, GM, Toyota, these kind of companies. What we do is we help students to find their passion. You can't just come to UTI, you have to be invited. And that's through an in-home interview with the student and their parents. And we cover our different areas: auto, diesel, collision, motorcycle, marine, NASCAR, CNC, and welding. We cover all these. We want to find out, what is that student's passion? What do they want to be when they grow up? That type of thing. And we also want to see, are we a good fit for them? And are they a good fit for us? We want to make sure this is a win-win for everybody. And of course, we include the parents in that because they're a huge stakeholder in this. So we want to make sure the parents are on board too. We have campus locations all over the country, and we definitely have a campus near you on the East Coast. Of course, we have our new campus in Bloomfield, New Jersey, and we have a campus in Exton, Pennsylvania. So we definitely have a campus, fairly close by somewhere. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the industry relationships, the industry partnerships that we have with over 35 manufacturers. These are the big dogs in the industry. And this is who we work with to get our students employed. We don't feel like we've succeeded until we've finished the process. That means getting the student into school, get them through school, graduated, and then into the field. It's not enough just to get them graduated and say, well, good luck, see ya. We want to get them into the field and get them working. That's why we can say we have 220,000 graduates out there in the field today, and that number continues to grow. We have the campuses, 12 campuses all over the country, and we place 4 out of 5 of our graduates in the field. And but people say, well, why don't you place 5 out of 5? Well, you always have that student that maybe didn't work hard enough. They didn't commit themselves as much as they should have. These guys that are hiring them, they're looking for the best of the best. They can be picky because they pay very well. They offer great benefits. So that's why we tell students, you have to do your part. One of the things we really try to maximize is our graduates. It's one thing I can stand there and tell a student all day, oh, this and this and that and everything else, but it means more when one of their peers tells them. And one thing that all 3 of these graduates can tell you is that they had to work hard to get to where they are, but you see those smiles on their face, they're happy because they're doing what they love to do. And so we like for them to share those experiences with future students as well. We are Title IV funded, so that means we offer financial aid to those who qualify. And of course, that starts with the FAFSA. We also offer over $15 million in scholarships to help make school more affordable. We also offer housing grants, institutional grants to help students to get started while they're, to go to school. That's a big step for them to go. And so we want to make sure that they have the resources available to them so that they can get started and get into their career. And then we also offer third-party programs to help with emergency expenses, which is called LIFE. Things come up along the way, and we want to make sure that students don't get derailed. They're able to finish what they what they want to do, what they want to be. And so that's where we help them with the third party programs. And then the one I left for last is the TRIP partnerships. TRIP stands for Tuition Reimbursement Incentive Program. And we have over 4,700 employers right now, and that number continues to grow, that offer these programs. Why are they offering them? To give students incentives to get into this program, to get into the transportation industry, and specifically to go to work for them. I mean, these employers are competing for students now because there's such a shortage, and so they're trying to come up with different ways to attract students. For instance, Penske Auto Group, they'll offer a $25,000 package. Now, what that means is that when one of our students graduates and they sign on with a Penske dealership, then Penske will, on top of their salary, will give them an additional $300 or $400 a month to help, so they can use it to pay off student loans. They can use it to pay for tools, wherever it is they want to use it for. So that way they can be debt free and still, still draw a very good income. And it varies across the country with what employers are going to offer. What we're seeing about it is that it's helping us to improve our graduation rate. Our graduation rate is very good. The average graduation rate in this country right now is 42%, and our graduation rate runs in the 60s to low 70%. And I feel that a lot of that has to do with the fact that we offer these trip packages. It really helps, give students the light at the end of the tunnel to help them get to finish up their program. As a retired educator, I know what you guys do on a daily basis. You guys work hard, you work with students, and what we want to do is we just want to partner with you. One of the things that we try to do is, is we offer presentations in high schools. So if you're interested in having one of our UTI representatives come in, we don't do a UTI infomercial. We don't want to do that. We talk about everything. We talk about the same things that you're talking about out there. You're talking to students about careers and things. We want to talk to them about that too. We want to show them all of their options that are available to them. And we know that you're doing this, but we want to make sure that they hear it again and again. You know how that is. They'll hear, as a parent, we tell our kids something, but if the neighbor's parent tells them something, they listen to it. So we want to do that with you all. We also offer things like professional development. If your staff would like some professional development of some type, I do a lot of those things across the country with staffs and counselor groups and administrative groups, all that, and everything is at no charge. We never charge for any of these services. You can follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, and of course our website, uti.edu. We're all over. And then finally, this is my contact information. This is my cell phone, this is my email address, and this is my Instagram account as well. I want you to feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, anything, if you need some help with something on those lines. Like I said, I'm very sensitive with my phone and my email. You reach out to me, I'm going to respond back to you. I promise you that. We just want to find ways that UTI can partner with you as educators, and the bottom line is doing what's best for kids. I want to thank you again for your time this morning, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thanks, Dr. Coyle. I think we will now start to take some questions. This actually comes from one of our counselors that wants to know, do you happen to know, Dr. Coyle, offhand, what percentage of your students are female students?
Yes, and that's a great question because it's something we're really working on. Right now, our student population of females is about 7%. That varies with programs. Believe it or not, it seems like motorcycle and diesel are the two girls really like. But now with our welding programs, they're starting to come in there too. But it's about 7%. But I will tell you that's raised tremendously from 4% as recently as like 2 or 3 years ago. So we're seeing a more female influx, and we're really encouraging that because we like to see more females in the industry.
Yeah, I know that we've written about that on our website as well, the increase in female students to STEM careers. So, all right, this is another question that comes from the Bloomfield area. It wants to know if we wanted to talk to one of UTI's local reps, should we go to UTI's website or contact you directly?
Yes. Yeah, you can do either one. It's you can go straight to the campus. You can actually go on our website and make an inquiry, tell them what you're looking for, and then they will direct that to the rep for that area. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you have my contact information, my phone, my email. Please reach out to me because I know who the reps are in that area and who the RAD is for that area, and I can definitely get you hooked up there.
Okay, and then another question comes in from somebody from Philadelphia that wants to know cost comparisons with community colleges. Can you kind of talk on that a little bit?
Absolutely. I get this question often, and it's a great question. Obviously, we're going to be more expensive than the community college. No doubt about it. If you go visit one of our campuses, which I would encourage you all to do, be glad to give you a VIP tour, but you'll see that why. Because of the inventory, the equipment that we have and everything. But something you have to remember is that you have to look at total expenses. You know, you're going to be in school at UTI for 10 to 17 months. That's it. You're done. You go to community college, you're going to be there for 2+ years. Usually 3 years is what it takes to complete that program. And then, of course, you go on to college or university, you're looking at 5 to 6 years to actually complete the program. So while you're still going to school there and spending money, you're already out graduated. We have many of our graduates out in the field at 19 years old or 20 years old, and they're making money. So you have to look at the total picture. Plus, with our trip employment, this makes us very affordable.
Okay, and then this is another question, a great question that one of our participants had asked. What strategies do you suggest for quote unquote high achieving schools with college focused families to get parents to attend a presentation at our school? I'm guessing in reference to a presentation about skills trades and maybe even a presentation with Universal Technical Institute.
And that's also a great question. And I cover, I get hit with that a lot as well too, because you're exactly right. Parents are tough. I always call them the P word, parents, because they have their own ambitions in mind for their student. That's where I would recommend having, I would be glad to come to your school district and we could set up an open forum. I'd be glad to address that with them. The other thing is to, that you would you want to magnify the importance of these programs, that although they think that all their students do want to go to the college or university, many of the students really don't want to. They really do want a hands-on career. And so as a school district, if you will start amplifying that a little bit and giving those students credit, you'll see a little bit of change with parents.
Okay, I think that about wraps up today's session. I want to thank everyone for coming. Looks like we're actually ending exactly on 10:30, so we did a good job. I just want to mention a few things. First, before closing, I want to thank Dr. Coyle for being on today's presentation. Always does a great job. The second thing is that I will be sending a recording of this presentation out to all of our participants, as well as a survey. If you don't mind just taking 2 to 3 minutes to answer the couple of questions that I'll send to you at the end of this presentation on how we did. It sort of helps us as we are constantly evolving this presentation. So on behalf of the Imagine America Foundation and Dr. Stephen Coyle, thank you and have a great day.